Hi guys, welcome back. I was wondering if I was going to film because as you can hear my voice is completely gone. I'm actually feeling better. I just have a really annoying cough and I have no voice. So today's Flossmas Day 8. I'm not actually going to be too much talking. What I am going to do is I pre-recorded a finishing tutorial for the round ornament, so I'm going to include that footage at the end, which is why today's Flossmas is really quite long. So I'm actually filming this on the 7th, so I'm a day ahead. I did sign into the Jingle Ball last night, but I was feeling really rough, so I didn't join any stitching tables. I've been at work all day today, so I haven't joined any stitching tables. I'm hoping tomorrow I've got a little bit of a voice because I really don't think it's a good idea to be chatting at the moment, but I do feel like I'm still getting really good value for my $10 ticket entrance because the exclusive charts like the Stacey Nash ones, oh my god, I'm gonna go online and purchase those. I really haven't had too much of a look in the thing. I have downloaded some of the free ones. I have of course got the Jingle Ball ornament book. I'm loving the hands-on design stuff. I said last night that I wasn't going to purchase anything until this evening, so I've had all day to kind of finalize my list because I don't want to go too mad and buy everything. Like, this stuff will come out eventually, but there is some stuff that I think is really good. So before I show you my advents, I'm going to show you a little bit more shopping that I did. This is from Canny Little Fox. As always, her Instagram and information is listed down below. I actually placed this at the end, was it the end of last month, the start of this month? And I ordered a new home case, a Christmas themed one. I actually ordered this because I really wanted a Christmas themed one to put my advent calendar in from Modern Folk Embroidery. So I'm deciding whether I'm going to put it in this one or whether I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take my other one out of the Teresa Koga fabric one and put it in there, but it will be in one of these cases. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. As I said, I've loved her stuff, but a nice little winter one, and I love that green print on the inside. So I've got a home case, but then also she had another one of the Teresa Koga fabric. I love Teresa Koga fabric. This is a multi-pocket because I have a multi-pocket for Halloween, I have a few bee ones, and I now have a Christmas one. So if I have any Christmas whips left over that don't fit in my home cases, I'm going to be storing them in my multi-pockets. So got those. She also sent a really lovely goodie bag that's got a chocolate coin, a note and things like that. So this actually arrived on Friday evening, but I'd already filmed the video that went up today, so I wasn't able to share it in the video. So I've actually had that since Friday, I just haven't dived in and used it. As far as my headless cheerleading sow, and thank you so much, I've had a few people comment and go that's exactly what they thought they were as well. So the headless cheerleading sow is going really well. I have done day 7 stitching, which was adding the flowers onto the stalk so it no longer looks like a witch's broom, and then I did both sides over here. But yeah, 100% my headless cheerleading stitching sound. So let's quickly have a look at what day 8 is. I do apologise for the rattling and the rustling sound. Oh, that is gorgeous. That is stunning. It's called Slate. It's a purpley grey tone. Oh, we've got a bit of a big stitching day today. And they're still headless. I'm loving this. I'm hoping they stay. I'm really hoping they stay headless. And I'm actually thinking I might re-stitch them as a small to either put in my diary or like in my journal, or have as a little pillow to go in the bowl, because this is making my Christmas now, guys. I think it's because I'm unwell, but I love this. So day 8 is this gorgeous slate. I'm sorry, it's really late, the camera is terrible, but it's like a bluish purple grey colour. And we are going to be doing 127 stitches with this, and then we are going back to day 1 again, which was suitable. We keep going back to day 1, which is this red colour. Look how gorgeous they are together. So we're doing a lot of stitching with day 1. Where is day... Oh, day 8 stitching is going to be, we're adding the year to it, and we have another song waiting. So there we go. I'll be stitching that one up. Day 8. I've just realised I'm missing an advent. 1 second, I'll be back. Hey guys, sorry, I realised I was missing one of my advents, so I grabbed that. So day 8 from the Innocent Bones advent calendar, and I have to say I'm really excited for day 9 because it's got multiple parts to it. So day 8, oh my gosh, that would be so much better if I actually had a voice. We have got the most gorgeous acrylic bobbins that actually say Innocent Bones on it. It's etched in Innocent Bones, but it's this gorgeous black with silver holographic glitter, and we have 3 of them. They are so gorgeous. I'm really sorry, I'm really hoping you can hear me, but I literally have no voice left whatsoever. Day 8 of KLT Charting Designs. That reminds me, day 7's chocolate is still behind my desk. I need to rescue the chocolate. And we have 8 Maids a Milking. It is a gorgeous blue, you can't even see that. It's a gorgeous blue and white, and this is a 32 count. That is washing out big time, but it is like blue with white mottling. Or should I say it's white with blue? I don't know. I don't know, but let's not start rambling. So there we go with day 8 and day 8 of my Cottage Garden threads, which I really need to use some of these. I have them on a ring, but look how gorgeous they all are. Like, absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So day 8 is Lima. So I actually have this one. I have a few skeins of this because I have a project that I want to do with this. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's a royal, so it's got a navy blue with black, grey, and then a lighter shade of blue. That's really not showing up. Maybe if I find something. I don't know if that's made any difference. Okay, so as you can hear, I've got no voice. I'm going to go back to the Jingle Ball. I want to watch the entertainment video because I've only seen glimpses of it. I did listen to a couple of meet and greets. And my classes, I already knew I wasn't going to be able to make the class, but the video's online for 30 days. So I'm going to be watching that after Jingle Ball has finished. But I did manage to catch a few meet and greets today. There's another one in about an hour, so if I'm still awake, I might join that and listen to it, because I love the fact that I can have my camera and microphone off and just like be listening to stuff. And I'm gonna go and do some shopping now for the Jingle Ball. So if you want to watch the Christmas ornament finish, how I finished my round ornaments, I have edited that video this evening, so I'm going to attach it to this, which does mean this one is going to be a little bit of a long one. But if you don't want to watch that, sign out now and I will catch you tomorrow. I hopefully will have a little bit of a voice tomorrow, because hopefully by resting, I'm filming this a little bit earlier on the 7th. Well, I'm filming it late at night, but hopefully if I'm at work tomorrow, but I shouldn't have to talk too much because the students won't be around. So hopefully I can completely rest my voice and maybe hopefully on Monday get some voice back, because I really, when you work with teenagers, you need to be able to talk. And at the moment they're going, "Miss, can't hear you, sorry, bye." Which is driving me absolutely doolally-tap, because they don't want to do it in the first place, and now they've got an excuse not to do it because they're just telling me they can't hear me. I have got one of them walking behind me who's going, "Miss said," and then repeating it. So I do love her to pieces, but she is not making herself the most popular person in school at the moment. So I'm gonna go because I would like to actually have some voice left, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to join at least one stitching group and stitch with people. But really, if I don't make it, I don't make it. I just think I'm loving the Jingle Ball no matter what. The £10 ticket was worth it. The class was definitely worth it. Even though I haven't watched it, I already know. I caught a glimpse of some of it earlier, but it's great. So really enjoy it. If you haven't joined this year, it will be back again next year, hopefully. Really highly recommend it. And Stacey Nash, oh my god, I'm so glad she's there. I'm gonna go purchase her stuff now. Right, I'm gonna go because I've got no voice. All right, bye guys. Hi guys, so I'm adding this into the Flossmas video, so if you notice nail varnish or anything different, but I thought I would turn on the camera because I was finishing some of the new ornaments that I've stitched this year to go onto my Christmas tree in the school office. And I thought, you know what, why don't I try and film it and see how it goes to show an FFH video, because last time I did a fully finishing video, I had so many lovely comments. People seemed to really enjoy it. I had so many comments on Instagram saying that it actually took the fear out of finishing things, especially in the style that I finished. So I thought, why not show another one today? And these are from Stitching with the Housewives. These are their little roundabout ornaments series. I've got a few that I'm finishing today, so I thought, why not turn on the video and see if I can capture the finishing element for you. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you how I do my version of finishing these. Now, Priscilla and Chelsea on their YouTube channel do have a playlist for FFOing things. I think the way I finish mine is a little bit different to how they finish theirs. I'm not really sure. I haven't watched their finishing video. But I like to have mine so they're flat. I don't like having additional layers onto my ornaments, but I do like them to have a clean backing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you from start to finish. I may speed up things here and there, but I will put kind of a timestamp along the bottom of how long it actually took to finish these. But I'm going to be finishing one. Now, normally what I would do when finishing is actually have a conveyor belt system. So I have 3 that are set to one side that I finished along with this. I tend to do 3 or 4 at a time, and I will do each step for all 3 or 4 of them. So that way I am getting a little bit quicker each time I do the finishing. I don't tend to do one by one unless they are completely different shapes or different types of finishes. But if I'm doing multiple roundabouts, then I will do multiple round ornaments at the same time. So going from the very start, I have my piece stitched. I've stitched mine on a 16 count chalkboard black, and last year I was finishing them with foam board and mount board, but I really dislike cutting circles. I really hate doing it, and I wanted this year to actually enjoy cutting circles and finishing circles. So I knew I have no problem finishing something that's circular. I just don't like cutting mount board or sticky board. So what I decided to do is I've measured my ornament. So I've just gone across the widthways of it, and mine is, this one is about 7 centimeters. Let me just check. Yep, so it's about a 7 centimeter round. This one is 7.5. So I decided to go with a little bit bigger, and I've got an 8 centimeter wooden finishing. Now I bought these in bulk. It was something like, I don't know, £13 for 100 of these. I use 2 for each design. I've got a front and a back, and we're just going to get finishing. So the first thing I always do is, if I am finishing something that is round, I will cover my pieces with batting. So I'm going to get my stitching out the way, and what I do when I do the batting, let me just find a piece that's fairly straight. We'll go with this piece up here. I'm just going to take a little bit of liquid glue, and you don't need too much. I'm just going to use a little bit just so it holds my batting down to my wooden piece. And I don't need to give that time to dry. I'm just going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to grab my fabric scissors and just going to cut this out roughly. And the reason I use batting on my pieces is because it just softens the edges, so that way if it's not perfectly round you don't have to worry too much about it. It kind of covers the imperfections. So I'm just going to cut out both pieces. I'm just cutting it close to the edge of my circle. I don't want to wrap it round because I don't want the additional bulk to the piece. I just want to soften the edges and make it give kind of like a tiny bit of a puffier look. I used to do 2 layers, but when they're on the tree you don't really notice, so I'm just going to be doing 1. So I've done the same for the front and the back because I do like the back to also have that little element. So I'm going to put the back piece to one side and I'm going to bring in my stitching. Okay, so I'm going to lay my stitching face down first of all so I can see whereabouts I need to put my circle. And bring this back over and I'm just going to have a little look to see. Now this one I have cut this was just a scrap of fabric I was stitching on and it is a little bit tight on some of the corners. Okay, but you'll see it will fit. I just might have to, oh sorry, I'm out of shot. Might have to just be a little bit careful on the corner. Now what I'm going to do is I've decided where I want my piece. Okay, and this one, it isn't a perfectly round design, but that's okay. I'm just going to use a black pen and I'm just going to draw the rough shape. Okay, and the reason I'm drawing the rough shape is because I'm actually going to remove my circle. Now you could do this by trying to hold this down and stitch around it, but I just think, why make a job harder? No one's going to see this back circle, it doesn't show through on the front, so I'm going to keep it nice and simple. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to lace my piece. I do like to lace my stitching, especially my circular pieces, because it gives me a little bit of leeway when doing it. I will come in with the hot glue when I have got the piece laid, because it's not for, I'm not anti hot glue, it's just I like lacing it because it gives me a little bit more leeway in terms of if I don't get it perfectly right I can readjust, whereas hot glue I find that it does stick on there. So all I'm going to do is I've got my circle line. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera or not, but I'm going to start at the top. I'm going a few stitches away from that line and I am just going to do a running stitch around that line. So that line is the very edge of my stitched piece. So you don't want to go too close. A couple of stitches, half a centimetre away works well. Where I'm really close to the edge of fabric, I will have to go a little bit closer. So you're just going to do a running stitch. So I get asked sometimes, why do I use upholstery thread rather than cotton thread? The simplest answer is because it is a stronger, in my opinion, a stronger thread. You can, if you don't have upholstery thread, just double layer your normal cotton sewing thread. I used to do that,
But upholstery thread, I found it on Amazon for like, I think it was like £3. And since then, I have not gone back to using cotton because my cotton thread would snap a lot easier and I would have a struggle with trying to pull things as tight as I wanted to pull them. So now I've gone all the way around and I'm back at the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my circle back on and I'm going to try and line it up with that pen line. If it's not perfectly straight, then that's absolutely fine. But what I am going to do now is I don't need all of this bulk. So we're going to cut around, careful not to cut the thread. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that part. We don't need the scraps. And then what we are going to do is we are going to pull the thread. And you can see it ruffles up around the piece. Okay, now this is why I love lacing. You can see that my piece is not straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate that fabric, pulling it where I want it. And then we're going to go back over. When I'm happy with where it is, I'm now going to start lacing the back. Okay, so to lace, all I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it firmly in my hand. I'm going to go across to the other side, going as close to the wood as possible. I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to come back up and we're going to do the same thing. Just be careful your thread doesn't get caught on the front. You want it to stay at the back so you don't have any lines of thread across your piece. And we're just going to work round. Now, I am going to have to get some more thread, but I'm going to do what I can with this. This is one of those ones you really don't want to play chicken thread with. It's better just to start a new piece than to have it affecting your piece. So all I'm going to do is I'm now going to get a new thread. So I'm going to hold that really firmly and I'm just going to knot it off. And I'm just going to put a few knots in there because I want it to hold my piece. Let's grab my scissors, get rid of that, and grab another piece. Now I'm using black upholstery thread for this because my stitching is the chalkboard black, but you're not going to see the lacing on the outside. So if you only had white, just go ahead and use white. There's really no element of this that you're going to see the actual thread except for when you put the charm on the back, but you could use whatever thread you want for that. You don't have to use upholstery thread for that. Okay, so then I'm going to go to this side and I'm just going to continue working around. I am going to leave a little bit of a tail on here. And there we go, we've got the start of our circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit of tape. And the reason I use tape is just because it is a little bit easier, especially if I've got a tiny bit of thread there. So here we are, this is my piece. Now you can see that it started to go over to one side. So this is why I love the fact that I can manipulate the fabric. I can just push the fabric round. Okay. Okay. Now, I've now got it in the place that I want it. However, I do have some puckering on the edges, and you could, if you wanted to, go back to lacing. However, I'm quite happy with the placement of this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot glue gun. I'm going to put a little dab of hot glue, and then I'm just going to push the fabric onto the inside. So once again, I've got a little pucker there, hot glue, push the fabric, and it gets rid of that pucker. Now, if I've got any fabric sticking up at the back, I'm going to do the same thing. Try not to hot glue the needle to the piece. Where I've got the little bit of fabric, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue the edges to make sure that it does stay down, that it's not going to fray. And then just over here, I'm just going to flatten that down a little bit. Okay, so there I have my round front piece. Now I need to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to do it with the back piece. So the back piece is going to be a fabric. I'm using the Priscilla and Chelsea. I think this is actually Priscilla's one, but the Stitching with the Housewives in the red and the black. I'm just going to take a little scrap of this because we really don't need much. I'm just going to cut a chunk out. And exactly the same thing as I did before. I've cut this a little bit close on some of the circles, but just going to go back round with my pen. Now, if you wanted to with the back, you could just hot glue that. You don't have to lace it. I just like the way that lacing a piece looks, and also it means I don't have to necessarily fully iron the fabric. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go in with my black upholstery thread. So I'm going to grab that. And exactly the same as I did with the first one, I am just going to start doing my running stitch around the edge of my piece. Now, I have realised I have cut this a little bit tight, but we will fix that. That's not really too much of an issue. I might just have to hot glue one of the sides down. You would want to give yourself a little bit of a margin, like I'm in here, I'm a bit tight. I didn't realise that there was already a slit in the fabric. Oops. Making sure not to pull the fabric too tight when you're doing your running stitches, because you want a little bit of leeway. And also your running stitches don't need to be perfect. Like this part, you don't have to worry if it's not the same size, because we are going to be doing the actual lacing as well. If you were just doing this technique and then hot gluing, I would make sure that your stitch is a little bit tighter, but because I'm going to lace my piece at the back, this stitching is purely just so I can ruffle it around the edges to give myself the fabric to stitch my back. there we go. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hold that down and we're going to tie it off. So with the fabric, I do exactly the same as I did with my stitch piece. I'm going to see, is there any puckering? Now with the fabric, because it is softer than my Aida, I don't really have as much issues with puckering. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue where I need to flatten my piece a little bit. Maybe I have some excess fabric. Okay. So I love having a hanger with a green fabric. Last year I decided that was my favorite. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to grab, I've got this, I picked this up last year at TK Maxx in the sale section. It is just a green velvet ribbon. Okay. And I'm just going to make sure when I hang the ornament, it hangs straight. So I'm going to go with this angle this time. I'm going to apply my hanger. And we're going to hold that just for a second and let that dry. Okay, so I'm going to add my front piece. Okay, so I'm gonna, like I did with my last finishing video, I like to use two forms of attaching. So as you can see, I have laced the inside, but now I need to attach my piece. So to help me stitch my piece together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue in the center of the design. Okay, I'm going to line it up with my topper and I'm going to press down firmly. So now my piece is attached. However, I still need to go around the edges. Now, the reason I do two forms of attaching is the hot glue will hold it in place, but I want to make sure that it stays in place. I don't want it to move. I could hot glue to the edges, but I don't like the bulk that it gives. I like to be able to flatten this down a little bit. Even though I am going to cover the gap with rickrack ribbon, I want to make sure that when I cover the rest of the gap is not too wide. And the way that I do that is I'm going to stitch it. Now, it doesn't matter that if my stitches are going to show. So I'm going to go back to using my upholstery thread. I'm going to use what I have here and then I'll just restitch the rest of it. Now, just bearing in mind that this is not foam board. It is not, so it's not foam board and it's not mount board. So you just want to grab the very edge of the fabric. You want to be careful not to grab too much because you will end up just digging your needle into the wood and damaging it. Okay, and I'm just going to sew these pieces together. As I said, I'm not doing an invisible stitch. I'm not even worrying what the stitches are looking like, as long as the stitches are on the sides and not on the front. I don't want my stitches coming out here. I don't want them going too far back. I want it on the sides. And then this way, I can cover it with the rickrack. Now, if I wasn't going to do a rickrack border, I would do an invisible stitch to keep things nice and tidy. But because I'm going to cover it up, why spend the additional time doing an invisible stitch? I am just going to take a chunk out of each side. You need quite a sharp needle for this because otherwise you're not going to get it through the fabric without hitting the wood too far. So now we have our piece also stitched together. It does just close up that gap a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to take my rickrack. This one is just getting thrown away. This one is from the range. Okay. And that is where I get my rickrack, because this one was 69p. It's not in the ribbon section. It was actually in the marriage section that I tend to find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my hanger towards the back. I'm going to add a little dab of hot glue. Now I don't want to put too much glue because you don't want it seeping out the edge. Bows. However, I found a huge packet on Amazon, and I don't hate making small bows. I hate cutting circles out because I can never cut them straight. With small bows, I just get irritated with it, and these were like £2 for a packet of 80. So I'm just gonna glue that straight onto the top, and we've got the front down. So the only thing I've got left to attach is I do like attaching these little metal years. So I've got 2024 here, and I am simply just going to stitch this onto the back section. So I'm just going to anchor my thread, careful not to catch the bow. So I'm just going to put a few stitches in just to knot this thread in place so it stays attached. You could use like those bell-ended safety pins. I'm just stitching mine, it's just as easy. And I'm just going to stitch it on a few times. Oops. Just gonna then make a knot and trim the threads, and then we're done. Peel off the last of the hot glue threads that we have, fluff up the bow, and then we have a second ornament ready to go on the tree. And this has taken, I would say, about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit less because I was talking at the start. So under 40 minutes you can make an ornament. As I said, I tend to do a conveyor belt system, especially because all of these rounds I'm going to be finishing in exactly the same way with the same thread, the same rickrack, so that way they are all nice and matching. But if you wanted to set up a little conveyor belt system, put on a nice Christmas movie. I've got a Christmas movie on in the background, and I just have fun finishing these. So I will insert some photos of these on the Christmas tree, and there we go. It's another finishing video. This Flossmas video is going to be a little bit long, but I wanted to make sure that you could see kind of real life time. I've probably sped up a little bit of where I've just been stitching around the edges and things. We will have these little ornaments all done. So let me know if you want to see any more kind of fully finishing videos. I hope this helps. I know a lot of us stitch these round ornaments. I will try, if possible, to put the link down to the wooden pieces that I use, but these are really lightweight, so they're going to have no issue on the tree. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you're enjoying this Flossmas series. I haven't even started filming it and I'm getting excited for it. So I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.